I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into AEW Redemption from July the 26th, 2026. This pay-per-view was a complete waste of time, and it never should have happened. Most of the show could have taken place on Dynamite or Collision. Take your pick, it doesn't really matter. I did enjoy the Kyle Fletcher Bandito match. I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that. But most of this show just didn't need to happen at all. I just don't understand why Tony Khan even put on Redemption. I just don't understand it. I still don't understand why Tony Khan continues to book these 4.5, 5-hour shows. It makes zero sense. Redemption came on the air at 7 p.m. and it didn't go off the air until 5 minutes until midnight. Why? It makes zero sense as to what the point of doing these long shows are. It makes zero sense. It's dumb. It's dumb. They did the WWE move, moving their pay-per-views up an hour early, which WWE has done for years, and Tony Khan still booked a 5-hour show, basically. It's stupid. It's dumb. This shit didn't need to occur. Then, we're going to talk about the main event. That was insane. And what I mean by insane, it was bad. It was absolutely stupid. I'm talking about the post angle that they did. That was dumb. That was absolutely retarded. I don't know, man. I really, really don't know. But we're going to get into this show. And we're going to talk about it. I just wish that Tony Khan would begin to book these shows with maybe at least 6 to 8 matches, and that's it. I just don't understand why we had to get all these matches. Most of these matches didn't even need to be on the show. They could have taken place on Dynamite or Collision. That's just what they felt like. And I just don't understand why this show was even booked in the first place. I don't know how many people were out at this show at Redemption. I don't. And I don't feel like looking it up. I'm just going to say maybe they got about 8K people showing up, probably. And Montreal really just wasn't into much of anything on this show. Outside of the opener and the main event, really. Well, and they were kind of into Chris Jericho. The Painmaker and Tommaso Ciampa. We'll talk about that. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into this show. So, we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. It was a ladder match to determine the number one contender for the AEW International Championship. This match was won by Speedball Mike Bailey, who defeated Nick Wayne, the Beast Mortos, El Clone, Jack Perry, and Commander. This match was okay. If you've seen one ladder match in AEW, you've seen them all. It was a bunch of insane high spots, Mike Bailey jumped off the ladder on the rampway and took out everybody. It was just a whole bunch of crash and burn spots, as it usually is in these matches. It's the same thing. A ladder match, there's not much you can do. We've seen everything. So it is what it is. Nick Wayne, Jack Perry gave Nick Wayne a devastating Canadian destroyer off the ladder, which was insane. So, there's that. So Mike Bailey, he wins. He ends up winning. So, there's that. He ended up doing the, what's his top rope move called? I forgot what it's called. Whatever. He ends up winning the match with that, and then he climbed the ladder. So, whatever. This thing went on way too long. This thing should have ended in like maybe 15 minutes. It felt like it went 20 to 25 minutes, and it didn't need to happen. Speedball winning, right decision anyway, because, I mean, they're in Canada, so I figured they were going to give it to either him or Jack Perry, so, you know, there's that. Doesn't really matter. So, who really cares, man? I don't care about this. Moving on, this leads us into another match I didn't really care about. That was the Young Bucks, Mac and Nick Jackson. They ended up defeating Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley. Oh boy, this shit went on forever. And you guys know I'm not a fan of Young Bucks matches, so I really don't care about this at all. You know, Moxley, he ate the pin. So the finish literally was the Young Bucks doing like 12 super kicks in a row, and then a double super kick for the 1, 2, 3, and that was it. This was so dumb. This was absolutely stupid. They ended up bringing in a steel chair in the match and everything towards the end of it, and that went awry. So whatever. I don't give a fuck about this shit. Moving on. This leads us into Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito. Kyle Fletcher defeats Bandito to retain the AEW International Championship. This match was solid. I'm a fan of both guys. You guys should know this already. Kyle Fletcher took control of most of the match early on, during the early stages of it. Then Bandito started to come back and do a comeback. Kyle Fletcher ended up hitting a beautiful brainbuster suplex on the ring apron, which was insane. We thought that Bandito was going to be out, but he was able to come to, and he got back in the ring. I forgot what count he got back into the ring at. Maybe 6 or 7, I don't know. He ended up talking to a fan in the crowd and everything else and all that for a brief moment to give him a little bit of hope. The match continued on. Bandito ended up doing a beautiful power slam. He ended up also doing... he ended up hitting the 21 plex, got a 2 count. Bandito hit his version of the GTS, which looks great. And Kyle Fletcher kicked out of that. Kyle Fletcher ended up doing a avalanche Michinoku driver off the top rope. And then he did a lawn dart, and Bandito still continued to kick out. And then Kyle Fletcher hit his finish, which is the brainbuster suplex on the ring apron. I mean, not on the ring apron, but on the turnbuckle. I think he usually does the top turnbuckle, but he accidentally missed it, and he ended up doing it on the middle turnbuckle. Anyway, he got the win. So this match was solid. I really like this. Bandito's fucking great. Kyle Fletcher is solid. Good stuff here. Good stuff. Now, this should have definitely been the first match on the show. The first 2 matches really didn't need to even take place on the show at all. You could have done those matches on Dynamite or Collision. Just didn't really matter about those first 2 matches. All right, moving on from that, this leads us into the double chain match, which was the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay, versus the Bang Bang Gang and Jay White and Juice Robinson. Didn't even watch this match. Didn't even give a fuck. Who won this stupid thing? Because I didn't watch it. The Dogs, they won. I really don't care. I really don't. This thing should have taken place on Dynamite or Collision. This is stupid. Why is this even on the show? Why? For what? This is so dumb. I don't care, man. I don't give a fuck about this shit. I really don't. Moving on, this leads us into Will Ospreay. He's backstage. He's interviewed by Renee Paquette. Will Ospreay says that Nick has had a history of head trauma, and he didn't want to act on it. So Jon Moxley walked in. Will Ospreay said he's not trying to kill someone or blow their brains out. Jon Moxley didn't want to hear it. He said, "Welcome to pro wrestling. The tag was just another tag match, and they'll win another one." but the match at Wembley is everything. Open your eyes, he told Will Ospreay. He told him not to turn his back on anyone. He said he won't watch him come up short. So if you won't pull the trigger, I will. Okay, this is fine, I guess. Whatever. Again, Jon Moxley still continues to play mind games in Will Ospreay's head, basically. So, whatever. I mean, it's fine. Moving on. This leads us into another match that really should have taken place on Dynamite or Collision. Maya World ended up defeating Hikaru Shida. She's now the new TBS champion. I didn't care about this match at all. This was really weak. This shouldn't have been on the show, really. So, whatever. So, basically, Maya World winning makes perfect sense. But again, this didn't need to happen. At least she's getting the push that she deserves. She's done fairly well in AEW so far. Tony Khan's booked her right so far, and I like it. I really do. But again, this match shouldn't have taken place on the show. It was boring and forgettable. And Hikaru Shida just isn't doing it anymore. She's just not it, you know. I don't know, man. She needs to change the scenery. She's been with AEW, maybe since 2020 or 2021? I think since 2020. So she's been with AEW, you might as well just say since its inception. I think she just needs a change of scenery. Maybe you send her to Ring of Honor. I don't fucking know, but it is what it is. But this heel turn that she did was just not good. So whatever. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Moving on from that, this leads us into the demand. So Ricochet and Toma Leon and Bishop Khan, they were backstage, and they ended up issuing a challenge to the conglomeration. They want a shot at the Trios Championships, Tag Team Championships on Dynamite this upcoming Wednesday. Who really cares about this? I don't care. Who gives a damn? Moving on. This leads us into Edge and Christian. They ended up defeating the Death Riders in Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. So they retained the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This match was okay. This was too long, too. We knew that the Death Riders weren't going to win at all. But since it's for ex-WWE guys, you knew that they were going to go kind of long. Claudio and Pac are work rate guys, so you know this match is going to go long, and it really did. Again, the match was pretty okay, but we didn't need this here. We didn't need it. I mean, again, there were so many matches on this card that didn't need to really even occur on this show, and I just don't understand it. I really don't. Like, again, it would have been better if they never even did Redemption. Whatever. So Edge and Christian, they get the win via the spear, because Christian hit a spear on Pac, and then Edge hit a spear on to Claudio for the 1-2-3. Post-match, the Young Bucks show up. They just come out, and they look at Edge and Christian, and then immediately a graphic appears on the big screen on the Titantron, and it's going to take place at All In. So the Young Bucks, they shake the hand of Edge, and then Christian, he turns away when he's offered a handshake, and so, you know, there's that. It doesn't matter. We already knew this is where they were going anyway. Hopefully, Edge and Christian end up retaining at All In, so we can get Edge and Christian versus the New Day at, whenever they do the match. Maybe at Wrestle Dream or whatever, something like that. Or if AEW is doing a pay-per-view, and they are doing All Out, which that will take place in September. So maybe they'll do Edge and Christian versus the New Day at All Out, because there is no fucking need for them to do. For them to have the Bucks win and then to do the Bucks and the New Day. That makes zero sense. That's dumb as shit. But knowing Tony Khan, he'll probably do some old dumb bullshit like that. I hope it doesn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting the New Day versus the Young Bucks at All Out. I guarantee that's probably going to end up happening. I hate to say it. Moving on, the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Anything goes. This match was fine here as a bunch of blood and everything else. There were fire extinguishers involved and everything. Steel chairs involved. Jericho ended up bringing out a hockey stick. So, there's that. Because they're in Canada. So, there's that. Chris Jericho did a beautiful Death Valley driver off the ring apron through a barbed wire table, which was insane. And then Chris Jericho ended up hitting the the Judas effect once he ended up spraying the green mist into the eyes of Tommaso Ciampa. Because Ciampa brought in the drill that he still is trying to use. And Jericho hit the Judas effect, and that was it. So, there's that. Whatever. I mean, this is fine. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry about that. No, I apologize. Chris Jericho did not win the match that way. He ended up using the damn drill. So the referee called for the bell. Damn. I wasn't paying attention or something because holy shit. Oh man, this is insane. I think I probably will go back to rewatch that match more than likely. That is insane. That's a little bit too much. Only shit in AEW. Only AEW does that type of shit. That makes no sense. That's fucking insane. Holy shit. I don't know what to say. Fuck. I really don't know what to say, man. Oh my goodness. Damn. Wow. So he actually used the drill. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch that. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention while watching some of this show. So, and this is one of the matches too. So, I'll definitely go back and watch the match at some point. In my opinion, this match went a little bit too long. This match could have ended in like 10, 15 minutes. But it is what it is, so whatever. I don't care. Maybe the feud is over with between the two of them. No, not really, because they're 1-1. How do you end their feud? Maybe you do like a steel cage or a Texas death match, aka a last man standing match or something like that. Or maybe an I Quit match, something. You got to end their feud at some point. So it should end going into All In. Moving on from that, I wanted to slash my computer with a samurai sword after we saw Mick Foley bark like a fucking dog. This was pathetic. So, Mick Foley, he was interviewing Divine Dominion backstage. Mick Foley says that his joints were bothering him. So he sat on a chair. So Divine Dominion took turns asking Mick Foley if he was if he's seen any better team than them. Mick Foley pointing out they haven't defeated the Brawling Brutes. The Brawling Birds before. I'm sorry. And they told him to bow down. And then he started barking like a dog and making bow wow sounds. And I don't understand it. This was absolutely pathetic. Mick, why would you fucking do this shit, dog? Why? This was embarrassing. This was absolutely pathetic. I wanted to shut it off then. I really did. This was pathetic. Like, this was like if you watch, like, BDSM nonsense. Like, this is what this was. I I don't understand it. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about this. Moving on. Andrade El Idolo, he defeated Mark Davis to become the new AEW National Champion. This match didn't need to take place at all either. Andrade ended up trying to hit the elbow that he does. Mark Davis kicked out. Match continued on. Andrade ended up winning via the DM for the 1, 2, 3. So, there's that. This match went on for way too long also. This match should have ended in like 5 to 10 minutes, but it didn't. I don't understand it. Andrade ended up taking pictures with a decent looking female on this show. Probably a plant. She ended up kissing him and everything else. They ended up taking a picture together, which was hilarious. So, there's that. Whatever. I don't care about this shit at all. I really don't. Moving on. This leads us into Speedball Mike Bailey. He was backstage talking to Lexi Nur. So Mike Bailey said that this was the best night of his life. He said that he's been coming to that arena since he was a child, and he wants to call his shot at Grand Slam Mexico on August 5th. Okay, that's fine. That's cool there. Whatever. Moving on from that, Willow Nightingale defeated Tekla. She's now the new AEW Women's Champion. The match was fine. Pretty good. So towards the end of the match, her faction, the Triangle Madness, came out. So Sky Blue and Julia Hart came out. Willow took them out with her finisher. And then Tekla ended up trying to do the spear, her spear. Willow got out of dodge with that. Tekla tried to do the stomp that she does. Then she got rolled up. A beautiful backslide by Willow for the 1, 2, 3. And Willow Nightingale is now the new champion, which is fine. We all knew this was going to happen anyway. Clearly, this happened because Mercedes was politicking to face Willow Nightingale anyway. So we all knew that was coming anyway. So there's that. Tekla had an okay reign as champion. What does she do now? I don't know. I don't know what she does going forward. You could just put her in some trio matches with the Triangle Madness. You could continue to push that faction and everything else. But or she could go after Maya World maybe. I don't know. So I mean, there's options for her to. There's options. There's stuff for Tekla to do. I mean, you could put her in the trios division with Triangle Madness, or you could, have her go after Maya World. I do think that they are going to end up doing the rematch at AEW Grand Slam Mexico for sure, so that's going to happen more than likely. That's definitely going to occur. Like, why wouldn't it? So, there's that. Moving on, this leads us into the main event of the evening. Kenny Omega defeats Kevin Knight to retain the AEW World Championship. This match was okay, but it went on for way too long. Kenny Omega ended up spamming 1,000,005 V-triggers and Snapdragon suplexes and everything else. So, there's that. Kevin Knight did Kevin Knight things. He was, pretty good in this match, but I just didn't care about this. This was just way too long. So, Kenny Omega ends up winning via the One-Winged Angel. Post-match, the Death Riders, they show up and they jump Kenny Omega. They beat him up. Will Ospreay comes down to make the save. He has words with the Death Riders. Claudio ended up bringing in a steel chair. They're about to basically break the neck of Kenny Omega. Ospreay made the save, basically. He took the chair from them. He ended up using the steel chair on the Death Riders. They scare you away. John Moxley shows up. Him and Ospreay, they have some words with each other and everything else. So John Moxley takes the steel chair away from Will Ospreay. So then they go nose to nose. Then John Moxley pulls out a fucking plastic bag. He wants Will Ospreay to use it. Ospreay doesn't. So he tears the bag, and then he starts to hit John Moxley and everything else, and then the Death Riders, they kind of all scurry away. So after all this, so then Will Ospreay, he picks up the AEW World Championship. He looks at it for a brief moment. He hands it to Kenny Omega. He notices the plastic bag, and he's perplexed at this. So Omega then takes the belt, although Ospreay begins to resist briefly. So Omega then offers a handshake, and Ospreay accepts it. So then Ospreay and Omega, they celebrate for a brief moment. Then out of nowhere, Kenny Omega hits a one-winged angel on Will Ospreay, and then he points at the plastic bag, angrily. The Young Bucks come out, and they try to calm Kenny Omega down, and then that was it. So I guess they're trying to turn Omega heel, which is kind of dumb. I don't understand this at all. This is dumb booking. I don't understand why they even wanted to even book something like this. This makes no sense. Omega's going to be a forever beloved babyface. Will Ospreay, kind of the same thing, even though when he first came into AEW a while ago, this was like maybe in 2023 or whatever, 2022, I can't remember when. But at that time, when he was with United Empire, he was heel. So Will Ospreay hasn't been heel in a while. But I don't know. This makes no sense. This is kind of weird and bizarre to me. And I don't know why this even occurred. This was dumb. This was dumb. So I'm guessing they're trying to turn Omega heel. It makes no sense when you go back and watch his promos that he did, even when he first won the championship. He even said he vowed not to be that person ever again, and then he went back on his word. This was dumb. This was a dumbass booking decision by Tony Khan. And it shows you that he doesn't think when he does these things. This makes no sense. This is weird. This is bizarre. But this whole show was weird and bizarre, basically. And this show really just wasn't all that good, and it should have never really even occurred. But it is what it is. That's his life. We have 5 weeks until All In. So, hopefully the last 5 weeks remaining until All In, hopefully Tony can book some strong shows and stuff, but I doubt it. So we'll have to wait and see how things play out. But what did you guys think of All In? My bad. What did you guys think of AEW Redemption? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.